Hi, I'm Priscilla with Area 58. Today we're going to be interviewing Jeff Rone and Alicia Phifer. We are going to be documenting their paranormal experiences.
We're ready?
That's where we start off.
And we're live?
We're live.
Well, we're not live.
We're not really here.
Yeah. So, you guys had an experience in the woods with some drumming. First, I want to set the like approximate date and time, that sort of thing. About when was this?
Well, that's not your business. I don't know why I started winning a lot. I was holding it back for a while.
It's a good thing we don't have beers in our hands.
Okay, at an undisclosed time, in an undisclosed location, you guys were in the woods. Let's
I'm trying to remember.
Should we start from the beginning? Because
start from the beginning.
I thought that was
Not the third grade. I say keep it rolling.
Okay.
okay.
Some of this will be funny.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I'm trying to remember. I mean, we could look back in text to find what it
Not
was.
important.
But, okay.
Yeah, it was
recent.
probably in the fall.
What year?
Well, it was
What?
Henry passed away in August,
So it was probably
September,
early September.
something like that.
Yeah.
So Henry Franzoni.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He passed away, and we went out to the Almoon Lab Wilderness area and kind of had like the intentions to try to reach out to him. Well, you first kept telling me like, bring your spirit box, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. Like, we can throw that in the mix. And then while we were there, we were like, wait, we should try to reach out to Henry because we were talking about him and thinking about him. And yeah, so we turned that sucker on and we were listening for a while. Not a whole lot was coming through, but one very clear message came through, and it just said, focus on your life.
Yeah, focus on your life.
Yeah, that
It was a
didn't,
clear message.
yeah, that didn't feel tied to Henry. It was just like, I think kind of a little message for both of us individually, for like whatever, or for one of us at least.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then
Then I was asking, hey, Henry, can you play the drums for us? Henry, are you out there? Henry, can you play bolero? Henry, can you give us a message? And then a messenger pigeon landed
yeah,
on the road right over there to our right, out of the blue.
yeah.
We're like, oh my gosh, a message. Pigeon.
Yeah, and then because not much, yeah, totally. And well, so we weren't getting very much on the spirit box except for that one clear focus on your life. And so we did it probably for like 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Something like that.
And then we just were like, okay, well, let's take a break from this. Because when you listen to it externally and not with headphones, like the Estes method, it's a little like,
It kind of grinds on your brain.
a
after
little
while.
bit, yeah. And so we turned it off, and we both were like, oh, I gotta pee. Oh, me too. So we went opposite directions. I remembered you going into kind of the woods behind us, and then I went the opposite way, which kind of went around a little bend, and the little creek goes underneath the road, and you can kind of hear it on either side, but I went fully around the bend, and I'm like sitting there and, well, yeah, doing my business, and then all of a sudden I hear like this bassy drumming rhythm, and I'm like, at first I thought maybe it was like a car, like bass or something playing coming down the road, and I'm listening, and so I like finish up, zip my pants, and I walk around the bend, and as I'm walking closer to the creek that's like right on the bend under the road is where the sound was the loudest. Like it was coming from the creek almost, or like that's what it sounded like. And then all of a sudden I see you, and I kind of like throw my hands up, and you do the same thing.
Yeah,
and
we were both like going,
yeah.
And you guys are the only ones out there?
yeah.
Yeah. And then once we get close, like up close to each other, you were like, I'm hearing, drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said you heard both of them though. You heard the bass drum, and then as we got closer, you heard the snare drum at the same time.
For like a split second, yeah,
Yeah.
I could like hear it faded fairly, like the moment I feel like we were coming together in the middle and like pointing it out is like as it started to fade
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But yeah, you heard,
Right. Well, I heard the snare drum just like
yeah.
almost like bolero, and I was like, holy! And I finished up, and I turned around, started walking back. I see her way down the road, and we both instantly were just like, oh my gosh, you can't believe this! And I hear her say, I hear drums. I'm like, me too! And
Yeah.
so we thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
so
fascinating.
didn't he go out there and play drums?
I
that-
believe
and
so.
play that
I
the
know
song
he'd
that
been- I know he'd been there.
Yeah.
I don't know
I mean,
if he
I
played the
don't-
drums out at those woods, but he'd been to those woods at the same spot we were at. But he's famous for an old video where he's got a snare drum set up in the woods. It's snowy, and he's playing his drums out in the woods.
Yeah.
He was a drummer, of course, but that was a pretty weird thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should edit and maybe explain what a spirit box is for people that are listening or watching this video, or
Explain it.
Explain.
Well, it's a device that, well, you could also just play AM, FM, but you can choose whichever to be on, and then once you turn on the actual, like, the spirit box kind of part of it, it goes sweeping through the radio stations, and you can choose different levels of speed that it goes through it, and essentially the idea is that, like, ghosts or spirits, whatever, can like manipulate it for words that are kind of being spoken in radio to like come through more clearly. And like, for instance, us hearing the focus on your life was over multiple radio stations.
yeah, because every time you hear the psh, psh, it's switching frequency.
Yes.
And so you got the psh, 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 focus on your life.
Yeah.
How did focus on your life get put in the little?
So was it like focus was on one station and on your life
It
was the next
sounded
station?
like streamlined.
It seemed fluid.
Like,
It
or
seemed
yeah,
like a
fluid.
fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, with the normal frequency, it wouldn't pick up that much sound in one little psh.
Yeah, like ideally, I think the like credibility behind or what people kind of tend to think something came through is when it shouldn't be able to come through one like a singular voice spread out over multiple stations, because it switches typically depending on the setting you have it on fairly quickly, and so it's hard to actually listen and capture certain things. But like that was
Yeah, 'cause-
over a couple of seconds.
Yeah, because we're getting stuff like, well, you can get stuff like, no, yes,
Yeah, they'll be quick.
maybe, or something like that, or a partial sound, which to you
Or
sounds
song,
like,
or
yeah, a little tune or something. But for just to say focus on your life, it's like, how did that come through?
yeah.
Like that.
Sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. When that stuff comes through, you tend to think either that, or depending on if you're asking questions out loud, when you have like a very pointed answer that is like quick to respond to, that's another moment where you're like, oh, like, that seems pretty like too good to be coincidental, or maybe like think that you are actually communicating with something.
I think that's
Good.
good on that one. Yeah. And then do you just want to? Do we just want to take Jeff and set him off?
Set me off.
Start in
Doesn't
third
take
grade.
much, man.
Start in third grade,
You want me to
man.
just tell like one thing that happened to me, or?
Okay, I'm really curious about something.
So
let
hold
me
on,
just-
hold on.